Hey guys, Rob Stellini here. It's Thursday, missed last Thursday, move on. Um, yeah, welcome to A to Z. I'm sorry I missed last Thursday. I was really busy with the project submission. It went amazingly. Um, so sorry about missing last week, but it's given you guys an extra week to like Joe Pim's comment of typography slash text and task management. They got 20 likes, so here we go. We'll start off with typography. I'm quite lucky in that I'm in a good position to talk about typography from quite a well-informed point of view. I'm set to graduate, that's a scary thought, in about 3 months' time with a degree in typography and graphic communication from the University of Reading. And for those of you that know anything about typography, or the world of typography, most of you will know something about typography. For those of you who know, Reading is a pretty, it's a world-renowned place for typography. It's where you go if you want to study type, and the entire graphic communication course has a significantly heavy weighting towards typography. And when I went there, I didn't realise that, and actually, I'm so glad that I did go to Reading. It's been fantastic, and actually, it's made me realise that type is at the fundamental of design. Very seldom do you ever design something that doesn't need words. It's an interesting topic. We discuss word and image throughout our years here at Reading, and it's one of the third year modules. It's not a module I'm on, word and image, but I think it's particularly important when people look at it from a YouTube sense. And I know I've talked about kerning for the letter K. That was a bit of a cop-out. I wanted to talk about typography, but I want to talk about typography in a more broad sense, and how bad type stands out and good type makes great work. It should be the fundamentals of your design. When you're looking to put across, especially with regard to YouTube, if you're branding someone with a YouTube background or something like that, as most of you are, the type is significantly important. You need to be able to put across their message and who they are with just their name more often than not. So let's look at KSI Olajide BT. When I did his, I used Soho Standard, which is a really, really nice slab serif, but it's got some really, really great nuances. Now, it's an expensive font. I paid for it. It was worth every penny, so for those of you who think that buying fonts is stupid, we'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, so I wanted something that was trendy, clean, but had a bit of playfulness in it. And it's amazing how many people don't think when they're using a type. They just pick one. They're like, okay, yeah, that kind of works. Bosh, done, move on. I spend if you watch my speed arts and my videos, the majority of my time is spent open with Liner Type Explorer open and cycling through fonts to find the right one, and more often than not, I don't get it right the first time. I am more frequently now, with having done it for a while and having examined my typographic principles. I designed my own font. I designed a black letter earlier on this year, and I plan on making a video about that. I'd hope to, when my degree finishes, go back and revisit it a little bit. Not enough to do the MA type design program with Jerry Leonidas, who is world renowned for type. He was my Typeforms lecturer, and I'm working quite closely with him on a couple of projects as well. So yeah, type is brilliant. Type is quite a nerdy subject. You have to really dig deep into it and delve in, and honestly, you have to be a bit keen. You have to spend time with it, and it's a lot of time and effort to get it right. I spent hours staring at type. Looking at it from a web designer point of view, I need type to look good on a website. It needs to be legible, it needs to be interesting, it needs to do this and that, and it's an important part. It's one of the most important cogs in the design machine. So getting your type right is the best place to start. It's advice I give to a lot of new designers. Like, they ask me what they should focus on. Anybody can build a YouTube background. Don't practice that. Practice type handling, and just branding in general. Build a brand around a typeface. Build a brand around a typeface and a device. Just try hard to understand the principles of type, and listen to podcasts and stuff on YouTube about typography, and Google it and look into it and look into the history, and be interested. There's nothing worse than someone who does it because they just want to get paid. Nobody should do a job like that. I know that some people have to do a job because they want to get paid, but actually design is completely different to that. People do design because they love it and because they're good at it and because it gives you a good warm feeling inside when you finish something. It might be a hair-tearing experience throughout the entire project, but once it's handed in or you've signed it over to a client, then there is a great feeling. So get interested in type. Type is fantastic. If you don't understand what I mean by typography, just Google it. Have a read of some articles. Have a look at some web typography. Typography is often misused. I've done some typography. Don't say that ever. This is a typographic handling of your logo. Yeah, sure, that's fine. But typography doesn't really work. Typography is a discipline. You can have examples of typography, but you don't have a typography. I have done a typography, just does not exist. Don't do it. So yeah, that's typography. And the other one, got to switch back, task management. This is an important one. I talked before about time management and about making sure that you're reliable, but task management is slightly different, I think, from what I'm trying to understand from what Joe is looking for. Task management is about how to get the most out of what you're doing. If you're building a website is a huge number of different things. It's you're looking at the branding, you're looking at the coding, you're looking at all of the different aspects, and it comes down to all design. If you're designing a book, you're looking at the branding, the colours, your typefaces, you're looking at consistency, you're looking at a whole bunch of other things within a project. I'm assuming this is task management within a project. You don't get it so much with YouTube backgrounds because they're quite quick to do. You don't spend 3 or 4 weeks on them or months. So you probably don't notice your task management as much as you would if you're doing it for a bigger document. But you're still doing it. You're still looking at, you might have an order you do things in. You might look at the type first, and then the images, and then the colours. Or you might change stuff around. And task management is particularly important when you're doing it at a commercial level. If you're working and your task management is poor, you end up doing the same things over and over again. You end up having to copy and paste stuff in if you don't have good style sheets. And good task management allows for good time management. If you increase your workflow, and by workflow I mean improve the speed that you do things without compromising its integrity. So you're doing things at a more rapid pace without affecting the design. So that's stuff like when I open up my YouTube template, it has all my social icons pinned into it already. Loads of them I don't need, but it saves me having to open up another file when I need them, pasting them in, getting them all sized to the right thing. It's just much quicker having them all in one place already. Having a type management system, I use Linotype Font Explorer. It allows me to just have the typefaces I want open. It allows me to enable a whole bunch of typefaces when I open a program. So when I open InDesign, all of my book typeface my book typefaces load up, and when I close it, they close off again because I don't need them anywhere else. I'm never going to use them in Photoshop. And when I do, I just open up, book, and enable them, and that speeds up my workflow. It means I don't have to sift through loads of shit typefaces or inappropriate typefaces. And I have swatches ready, so I know which colorways work well. I've done them before; they work well. Bosh! I have my patterns ready. I don't create patterns every time I do it, and I think that's important when you're looking at YouTube stuff. Is that it doesn't actually pay that much, considering how much some designers get paid for outside work, for web design work. To hire me, you'd be amazed at how much it costs, and it dwarfs the amount I make from YouTube backgrounds and stuff like that. So it's important that, especially if you've got a set price for a project, increasing your workflow is significant. So, good task management means that you get a great workflow, and typography is one of your tasks that you should be looking at very closely. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope they were informative and that you guys understood what I'm saying. And I use a lot of big words and a lot of jargon, and for some people that's not helpful. But what I'd say is go back if you're new to the series or you've joined the letter what comes for T, Q, or M or something like that. Go back to A and watch them in order, because I think I've built on things as I've gone along. And you get to hear my amazing voice for X number of hours. So, yeah, we're coming towards the end now. T, S, R, S, T, U, V, W. There's only about 8 or 9 left. So, as always, guys, tell me what you wanted for you, and like other people's comments. 20 of you liked Joe Pim's comments, so you got to hear about typography and text management, and task management. So do that again. What would you want to hear for you? I'm not going to give you any suggestions, so that you can tell me exactly what you want. I don't know what speed art you're watching. I've probably found something of my own, because I don't know what I'm going to do while I'm recording this. Thanks for listening. Make sure you've checked out Magic's first upload on YEOUSCH Graphics. This is his background for YouTube HD. And stay tuned. There are a couple of big changes coming to YEOUSCH Graphics in the coming weeks, but I will give announcements about them as and when I can, and as and when decisions have been made and stuff like that. But don't worry, it'll all be good. And I'll see you guys next week for the letter U. Shout out what you want to hear, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.